me because I have in the room with me my mom and my dad, so they never get to come with me. So I'll watch all my stories, make sure they're accurate, and all that good stuff because they're here. But anyhow, you know, my favorite part for the power strips is stress relief. If you put them over your children's mouth, yeah, I'm just warming you guys up right now. So, I guess I'll start with a question, especially for those, because I like to speak to the person who is here as a critic. Because a lot of people come here who've done it, they've made money, but there's a lot of people here going, show me the money, show me the business, show me the inspiration, wake me up. And the question I'll ask is, why is it that nearly 50,000 people a day join our industry? It's a moving industry right now. Now, I understand that, I know the answer now, but when I was first coming into this industry, I was very skeptical. People asked me if I wanted to join this company, and I just said, no, I'm getting a real job. That was my answer. I'm getting a real job. And lo and behold, here I am. And knock on wood, this industry has been very good to me. I've only seen it work. I've done it over 20 years now. I have only seen it work, and I feel very blessed that I've never had a job interview, and I've never been laid off or fired. I just always loved people, and I've always loved, you know, put value in the work that I put out there. So hopefully that will reflect as we continue to grow in this company. The thing that perplexes me about this industry, however, is there's a lot of hype sometimes, and you have to, and that will kind of blur over. If you're not careful, you can fall in love with the wrong thing for the wrong reasons. And I kind of, as I was growing up, I was very drawn to more quality. I wanted truer, I wanted better, I wanted quality, I wanted something that was for real, that I could sleep at night doing. I was raised in Southern California. I was raised I don't even know my way around, but I was raised up in Upland, Ontario area, and grew up in West Covina for a little bit as well. And I have an old friend here. Where's Debbie? Raise your hand. Old friend from high school there. She's still alive. She doesn't hate me. I brought a gun just in case. But anyhow, it's good to be back home for me. So let me just go into this, and I'll just get right into it. I've done this for about 20 some odd years. I started with a company called New Skin. And New Skin it's $1 billion, 1 point something billion. It's a really reputable company. I mean, for me personally, it wasn't my thing because it was beautiful packaging and celebrities, but you couldn't pronounce one ingredient, you know. It's just a lot of chemicals in there. But it's a young man. I was drawn to the success of New Skin and got to learn some things. And, you know, they were doing facials, and I just remember thinking, gosh, I mean, I'm a college kid. There's no way I could just go around giving facials. Here you go. I just couldn't do it. So I just kind of moved on to New Ways. New Ways also became a $1 billion company. And the message of New Ways was that they used, you know, for your skin, they used the safer chemicals. Of course, in the 90s, that sounded awesome. I'm like, I'm going to the safer chemicals. And I went there and spent several years working there. But, you know, truth be known, give them credit. They were the company that pioneered the message, be careful what you put on your skin. I think that's a really valuable message in today's world. And so I spent several years there. We grew all around the world. And I remember getting to a certain point in my career where I was like, man, I'm just not feeling it. And I'd worked my way up that company. I think they tolerated me. I was just a young man, and I just kind of worked my way up this company. And then finally, I just one day woke up and said, man, I'm not feeling it, because money was never my motivation. And if you're not waking up in the morning and you're not lit about going to work, you fake it. And when you're faking it, the clock just goes tick, tick, tick. I mean, it's the longest day in the world. And at this point, I had a new daughter. Her mother got sick, so I was raising her alone, and she's special needs. And so I would go to work, and it was always, what's your product, what's your comp plan? It's always, what's your product, what's your comp plan? And I'm like, you know? And so I learned to fend for myself in that Shark Tank, you know? And, well, our ORAC is higher than your ORAC, and our herbs were going at a higher elevation than your herbs. Our coffee is more alkaline than your coffee, and on, and pretty soon it's, well, I don't like you. Well, I don't like your mother. And I'm thinking, I don't want to do that for a living. Seriously. Because I come home to my little girl, And there's this butterfly, this beautiful angel, just very unassuming, very kind and loving and no judgment, back to work, and what's your product, what's your comp plan? And all of a sudden I'm like, I'm hitting a fork in the road here, because so one day I woke up and I just looked in the mirror and said, I'm not going to be the sloppiest pig in the pen anymore. I'm just not going to do that. It's not worth it. I got tired of all that. I got tired of the preaching the message of inferiorism, that the dirt ain't no good, the air ain't no good, the water ain't no good, you ain't no good, but if you'll take our synthetic vitamins, you'll be... We thought we could chase a Big Mac with a vitamin and we'd be okay. Look at us, okay? This is the sickest generation ever, the heaviest generation ever, the first generation projected to outlive their children. And so when our kids think they're eating fruit, it's marketing, it's Fruit Loops, it's Apple Jacks, it's Crunch Berries. And so, I don't know, I kind of started waking up a little bit and wanting more and more quality as I'm growing up. And so, after New Ways, I resigned, and I just said, guys, I'm just going to take some time off. I'm going to be with my little girl a little bit more. And all of a sudden, I get a phone call from a company called Young Living Essential Oils. Have you heard of that company before? Some of you have, yeah. It's the largest essential oil company in the world. They called me and they're like, hey, we want you to be our new CEO. And I'm like, well, I'm not even sure I'm a CEO type. And I'm like, because I was always marketing or sales and that kind of a thing. And so I'm like, okay, and I didn't know what essential oil was. I thought you had to live in Sedona, Arizona just to figure out how they work, In fact, the first day on the job, I went to work, and this lady comes in the lobby, and she holds this oil, and I don't want to make fun of her too much, but she put the oil on her belly button, and she went. And I'm looking at her my first day, and I'm like, what in the world are you doing, lady, And she holds it up, and she goes, this oil's off. I'm like, all right. So I take it, and I go to customer service. It's my first day, and I said, guys, this lady is putting the oil on her belly button and doing it's like a show. And she's like, saying it's no good. They said, well, the replacement oils are in the cupboard. So I opened the cupboard. There's some replacement oils, some replacement caps. And I thought, it's my first day. I don't know a whole lot. Why don't I just put a new cap on there? So I stuck a new cap on the old bottle, and I took it back out sorry, those of you who know me know I love a good laugh. So I give it to her. She puts on her belly button, she goes, yes. So we had the best caps in the industry, I just want you to know that. So, long story short, I would probably still be at Young Living if it wasn't that some of the issues they had in the roots were a little bit off, to be quite frank, and I won't go into detail, it's a waste of energy, but they were off. And I found out, and unfortunately I found out on a Wednesday, and I resigned Thursday morning and said, look, I appreciate and love you guys, but this isn't my stay, and good luck, and I hope you figure things out. And I moved on. I started my own company called The Brain Garden. It's my first time I started. The Brain Garden specialized in food. If God made it, eat it. If man made it, leave it alone or eat it in moderation. Let food be your medicine. Let medicine be your food. Raw food is the only medicine that works 100% of the time for 100% of the people. And, I'm sitting there going, how come it took me so long to figure that out? I chased every supplement, every miracle, this, that, and the other, only to discover that it's always been there. Food works. The head oncologist at Cornell University, cancer, stands up and says, man, we've seen the future in medicine, and the future's food. So the difference between the pharmacy, the real root word, F-A-R-M, go to Latin America, go to Europe, it's spelled pharmacy with an F. The farm, gathering your fruits and vegetables and herbs. Pharmacy, P-H-A-R-M, is the third leading cause of death. And that sweet Celia lady, congratulations to you, really inspired me tonight. Don't try and sell those out in the parking lot, be careful. You might get mugged out there, so. We'll need security to escort her out. But congratulations to you. That's a beautiful story. So I just got into food. We made a product called Pulse, P-U-L-S-E, and Pulse was 26 raw foods blended in a very mathematical equation. The body is math. So it's a mathematical equation. The entire body is math. And food was designed to fit the mathematics of the body. It's called sacred geometry. So for example, These indigenous cultures would cut a carrot, and they would look at the inside of a carrot and they'd go, oh my goodness. There's an eye in this carrot that's looking right back at me. So they believed intuitively that carrots were an offering from God to the body for the eyes. And Cal Berkeley gets a Nobel Prize in '79 on a government grant when they announced that carrots are purely for the eyes. And the walnut, if you open up a walnut, it's an exact little brain. It's got the left and right, the dividing membrane, the skull around it, etc. And walnuts are loaded with what? Essential fatty acids that feed the brain. And there's studies on that. Love this one. We had an illustrator. We cut a tomato. The illustrator illustrated the inside of a tomato. And all of a sudden, we went to the encyclopedia to look at the heart. You cannot tell one from the other. It's the most fascinating thing. And if you look up tomatoes in the heart, Google it, it'll be interesting to see that when people fast, the first thing they tell you to do is just eat stewed tomatoes because it cleans the plaque out of the heart. It has a lot to do with the heart and cardiovascular system. My signature foods growing up were buns and rolls. And let me tell you, they work. But the point is, nature is nutritionally complicated, so we don't have to be. And when I hear that, I'm like, okay, when my head hits the pillow tonight, it's all been there. Hello? Don't you think somebody would have thought it through for us? And we're just making it all a little fancy, a little inferiorism there. So Brain Garden went public. And guys, I was raised humble and poor. Never even knew I was poor. To me, this was the currency right here, sitting in the room. This is what I grew up on right here. And so the value of humanity was always the value of my life. And so I started making money, and I thought, it confronted me because I didn't know what to do with all the money. I'm like, you know, because money made me feel like I was losing some of my identity, and that money doesn't cure anyone. It only exposes. Somebody wants money. Did I hear money? Money doesn't cure, it exposes. It makes good people better, it makes bad people worse. And you know what fired me up finally? You want to know why I'm here? Because I want to make a lot of money because money is there to serve humanity, and not vice versa. And unfortunately, in this industry, they always put the eye on the yacht, the 72-year-old and the 18-year-old girlfriend, and the toupee, and all that crap. They just got it all wrong. The hot girl's not so bad. I'm just going to say that right now. But I'm simply saying they put the eye on the wrong targets. And when you find out that all that empty, hollow stuff doesn't cure you, then you're miserable. I went to these big conventions, and my job at these conventions was to be the host. And so I'd go to these big, giant conventions, and we would barricade the first 4 rows for our top leaders. And security would stand there like this, so you couldn't touch them. And you'd be going, oh, Rob, I want you. So I would go sit with them, and don't get me wrong, some of them were beautiful, graceful people. Most of them sucked the life out of the room. I'd sit there going, oh my goodness. And so one would say, well, how come Rob's sitting in the front row and I'm in the second? I don't know, Rob probably got here before you did. You know? I don't know. How come Troy's speaking today and I have to speak tomorrow? I don't know, but can you shut up? Can you shut up long enough to enjoy this convention? Because if you look 40 rows up, there's the happy people. And I'm sure they'll give you the bed to their Motel 6 they're sleeping in tonight. So I kind of learned early that, you know what, you can't have a company that's filled with entitlements. You can't have a company filled with Joe Namath. We need Russell Wilsons and Peyton Mannings. We can't have that. We can't have its relevance today. It's how we're showing up now, where my best work is my next. Ooh. You never can settle what you did, it's what you're doing, you know? So I kind of learned at a really young age that, you know what, I'm wanting these things in my life. So Brain Garden became a publicly traded company. I never sold a single share. My daughter was now 9 years old, and she needed me. I retired. So I started selling stock, and you can always tell when a poor person starts getting money. You know, they go shopping and they're like, I'll take one of these, 2 of these. Give me 2. And they just buy 2 of everything, and you go to their house and it's like, oh my gosh, there's 2 of everything in the house, you know? And I went through kind of that, I'm not saying I was silly, but I was just kind of dumb, you know, buying things. And I learned, you know, and I'm thinking, okay, so I went through network marketing. In network marketing, we preach money and freedom. And by the way, I believe in it wholeheartedly. Love this industry. Love it. The key is figuring out a couple things we're going to talk about here in a minute. But I kind of said, okay, I got money now. I'm getting lazy. I'm getting dumb. I'm sleeping in until 10, 11 in the morning. I'm getting up in my pajamas one day watching Oprah and crying. You know? And it's midday. I'm too lazy to go golf. You know? And I realized that money without purpose is really a detriment. It'll take you down south. Let me tell you, it'll take you the wrong way. So I woke up and one of my dear friends said, hey, Ron, how about some personal development? And I'm like, what? First sign if somebody needs it, what are you talking about? So I'm like, what are you talking about? They said, no, Ron, some personal development. I said, look, I'm not interested because I had seen it in network marketing, and what I saw, I hated. You know what I saw? I saw leaders in front of the room reading quotes from a book, and everybody's getting goosebumps, and I'm sitting out there going, you reading the quotes, no offense, but you're nothing like the quotes you're reading. Anyone can read a quote, but to embody a quote in such a way that you don't need to read the quote is everything. Energy doesn't lie. So I'm like, I don't want that personal development. So they said, no, Ron, this one course is in Southern California. It's right around the corner, by the way. And it's 4 months long. There's no books, there's no tapes, and you can't even take notes. And I'm like, just look at the pictures. I'm in, baby. So I'm like, okay, I'll go. That's kind of my language, by the way. So I get there thinking I'm going to the beach for a few days. Thank you so much, Penny. So I'm thinking of going to the beach for a few days, and I get there, and oh my goodness, it's hardcore. I mean, it is. There's no flying on the radar. I thought I would blend. Impossible. And I realized when I look back now how much they tolerated me. Just my story. All the stuff. Oh, I was at New Skin, and facials, and then I went to New Waves and with safer chemicals, and then I was making food, and then I retired, you know, look at me. You know, and they're like, oh my, this guy needs work, you know. And I had allowed that to become my identity, when in fact it had zero to do with my identity. And so, 4 months later, I just peeled all the onion layers off. One day I wake up and I'm the happiest kid on the block. And I think about children. When you ask a child what they want to be when they grow up, what do they say? They say anything, because they can. And it's only when we get older we start editing our answers based on the experiences we have in life. So we start saying, oh, I'm not sure, I just want to kind of make it, you know, I'm going to survive, you know. And I'm thinking, that day when I finished, they said, you have the day off. Go do what you want. Tonight is graduation. So my team, they all go to the beach, and they're meditating and praying on the beach, and I get in my rent-a-car, and I drive upland Ontario, actually. I go to my childhood neighborhood, where I was raised on welfare food, played baseball with a stick and a tennis ball, loved to play sports, love to play sports. And I'm sitting on the curbside looking at the apartment that I was raised in. And I'm just, all of a sudden, Mom's becoming my hero. And I'm realizing how ridiculous all my stories were and all this stuff, you know. And I was accountable to millions of distributors, and all I did was master the idea of what's your product, what's your company. And I felt dirty a little bit. I didn't feel dirty, but I felt like I missed a bigger opportunity. How's that? I missed a bigger opportunity. And so I'm sitting there, and I've got tears in my eyes, and I'm just grateful, just lit with joy. And that day I decided, you know what? I've got a skill in this industry. Some would argue, but I have a skill in this industry. And I'm going to go back and start a company. And this company will live and die by principle. And I even said to myself, and I'm quoting, I don't care if it's a big company or a tiny company. If I sleep at night because it's run by principle, so be it. And I'm thinking, man, I mean, when you say that, it's like getting in a fight with a guy who's got no teeth, you know? You know, it's like, at that point, what's the use, right? So I kind of declared right out of the gates, that whether it's big or small, it'll live and die by principle. So I took all of the drift away, day one. All the racket. So I get home and the name of the company was going to be ForeverGreen. I had no idea what it meant yet. It was right before the green movement. My neighbors, they all think I'm a landscaper. Hey Ron, can you get one of your crews over to our backyard? You know, seriously. And so, ForeverGreen. And this is what I came to share with you today, guys. Finally it came at me because what I envisioned is a company that had a vision bigger than all of us, so none of us get in the way. Where service supersedes salesmanship. Does that make sense? Anybody here? Service supersedes salesmanship. If you've got to be a magician in front of the room to do the business, it means the core is broken. But if the core is right, the average person can succeed. And so I'm thinking, okay, it's got to have this vision. So finally I woke up one day and I said, I got it. I know what this company is going to be. I went to, hi guys, more family showed up. Good to see you guys. So I woke up one day and I understood why ForeverGreen. I know a painter. Now he's a famous painter in Utah. He paints in his gallery, and I'm not even an art connoisseur, by the way. And I walk in and I come in and I said, hey, can you paint me a painting, 4 paintings, of the same exact landscape? Now mind you, I had no product yet, nothing. I was just creating that vision because I knew that the vision was the glue. I knew that the vision is what would undress all of us and disarm us from being our nerdy selves at times. So I just said, it's got to be this big vision. And so, do we have those here by chance? Okay. Thank you. So, first of all, I realize these are just, slides and whatnot, but I'd love to talk about them. I asked him to make it all 4 seasons, but the same exact landscape. We talked about mountains, we talked about clouds, we talked about a little stream that goes along right here, this little stream. We talked about flowers and, trees and blah, 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 all the elements. So he kind of lights up thinking, I'm going to paint this tree 4 times, every single limb on the branch. So to him, he's already a challenge. But then I asked him one last thing. Just stick one evergreen tree in the far right-hand side. And his eyes just kind of lit up like, whoa. And he was seeing this progression because, number one, the first thing you notice when you look at these paintings is the earth. Right underneath our feet right now. It's moving. It's shaking. It's creating miracles every day that we just take for granted. We just, oh, really? Right under my feet right now it's moving? The question is, what about you? Are you stuck? Are you moving with it? And so the whole idea is some people say, well, I've already been there and I've done that, Just living a spiritual death in darkness. But it's all about finding a prime of your life right now. It could be social, it could be intellectual, it could be spiritual, it could be physical, it could be financial. Find a prime and have it. Create the prime of your life right now. And so the whole idea was to realize that the earth is moving and it never stops. And I don't know why we would. Makes no sense. Okay, secondly, the tree. Love this. In fall, when the earth is letting go, not partially, all the way. Because some of us in this room are letting go of something. Maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's a business that failed, etc., etc. If you notice, it doesn't let go partially, it lets go all the way. Because when you let go all the way, you're available all the way. When you let go a little, you're just available a little bit. Nobody's interested in that. All in. Plan A or die trying. All the way. So, that's number 1. Number 2, in winter, when it's cold outside. And to me, I mean, some of us in this room are going through winter in a season of our life where failure, death, divorce, teenagers. Said that for fun, right? Sorry if there's any teens, I didn't want to include you there with death. My bad, okay. But if you look at the tree, look at this, bright green, embracing, and look at winter. It's still green, and it even grew. And then spring, to me, represents hope. Some of you in this room are feeling hope right now. Like, oh my goodness. Anything is possible. I feel it, I can do it. And then summer to me just represents evidence. Just, it's all there. And some of you right now are going through summer where you're like, man, my life is awesome. Just, I can touch it. It's all there. And the cool thing about life is that it cycles over and over and over and over and over again. And if you look at the evergreen tree, it's always green, it's always growing, it embraces every second of every season of its life. So ForeverGreen is not a product, it's not a green drink, and no, I'm not a landscaper. ForeverGreen is you, and it's me. It's how we choose to show up every second of every season of our lives. Always green, always growing. Today's ceiling is tomorrow's ground floor. So forever, thank you. So ForeverGreen is a way of being. And your way of being supersedes anything you know or say. You ever had somebody say all the right things, but you're like, Or somebody who says very few words, you're like, I want more. There's something about being loving, being kind, being generous, being open, being accepting, being forgiving. Those things, those are ways of being. And energy doesn't lie. You can't fake those things. And you see, the thing that bothered me about network marketing, I'm just being very blunt, is that everybody's chasing the product. Well, guess what? Products come and go. And it breaks my heart when relationships come and go, because we're better than that. We're worth more than that. The only sustainable piece of network marketing is sitting in this room. And when we stop hiding behind product, oh, check out the packaging. Ooh, see my upline. Look at the website. The colors are amazing. Woo! Well, guess what? The new generation? Who are you? Who are you? So it's time we step in front of the product and say, here is the best product in the industry. And when we do that, finally, really, we get it and we do it. That's why I'm passionate here tonight with you. Because you have magic. You have an amazing group that you're working with. Guys, I've worked with a lot of people, some special leadership in this room. People who are willing to go the extra mile, who walk their talks. But when you get that, then you realize that we can finally dignify ourselves. We can finally dignify each other. And we can finally dignify this industry, which I wholeheartedly love and believe in. But I'm just not going to do it the typical way. For me personally, never going to do that stuff again that's out there. This is what I want to do. I want to see where people realize that your professional skills will never go higher than your personal development. You can be smart and skilled, but if you're nerdy and repelling everybody, nobody cares. We've all got to be growing, always. And that personal growth will allow capacity you never thought you had, perhaps. And you can create things that you think. Whatever you think can become tangible. So this whole thing is about you understanding that you're the product. So this is our company. So I had these paintings done. We had no product yet, still. And I came to 21 staff and I said, hey guys, we're going to open this company. And they're like, oh, okay. I said, but before we open, would you guys be open? I didn't show them the paintings yet. Would you guys be open to going to California for 4 months and doing some trainings? And of course, their spouses called me like, you know, and I said, well, you know, just we want our company to be what we say we are and who we say we are. We don't want a delusional company where we're saying one thing and the inside is another. Many of you have been to our company, and I'm just one guy who works there. There's a very powerful bunch of people that work at this company. And so they went, and 21 people got scrubbed up real good, because we could all use it, by the way. Nobody's broken here. Nobody's broken. I'm just simply saying we can all use a scrub up, a wake up. So they all got scrubbed and waking up, and they come back, and I'm standing in front of 21 powerful people. And I'm like, ooh, it's a little eerie, because be careful what you wish for, right? So then I show them the 4 paintings, and just from my heart, just said, guys, this is who we are. We're not going to be the shiny object. We're not going to be the one-hit wonder boy bands that come traipsing through city to city, saying anything for you saying whatever you want to hear so they can make their quick buck. We're not going to look for our 15 minutes of artificial fame in this industry. We're going to live and die by our colors. And this is us. So they're all fired up. And I said, so once a month when you go to lunch, guys, you have the option to not come back. Go to lunch and not come back. Go find something in the community that gives you juice, that you can go serve your fellow being, and go find it and do it. The only rules are to be nothing there for you. Zero. Nothing there for you. The days of the CEO holding the 6-foot-long check with Miss Corona with him, you know, those days are over. All the powerless people watching Superman hold a big check, tax write-off. The world will never change in a broad stroke, folks. It will only change in millions of small strokes with the hands of people like us. And the world isn't out there. The world is right here, right now. The world is where you are with whom you're with, and that's you touching and influencing this world. And so because this industry puts nearly 50,000 people a day in, man, let's do something different, guys. Let's set a bar and a standard that we can all be proud of. Let's shift the perception from do me to an indiscriminate global community of givers. And because this is never, guys, this was never about the color of our skin. This was never about our political views or our religious convictions, which are very important to each and every one of us. Was it about race? Yes. The human race. The brother and sisterhood that supersedes all. That brings us together in service and in success. And I don't think you should apologize one bit if your motive's here to make a lot of money because you want to live your purpose and you want to stop living from paycheck to paycheck. Good for you, because living paycheck to paycheck sucks. And if you get to live your purpose and not worry about paycheck to paycheck, then good on you, because you'd be a better servant to this planet and the people that are on this planet. Yeah. So, this is a little bit about our company, guys. And what I'm most proud of is for 9.5 years, I'm just going to tell you right now, it wasn't all that magical. It wasn't all that easy. It wasn't all that fun. It wasn't even that fun. But I can tell you this. I've told this story 5,000 times with the same passion that you just felt. 5,000 times. And I'll never forget just struggling to get us there, watching companies go, the latest shiny object. And one day, one of the executives looked at me and said, Ron, how come great leaders are stepping over our company? How are they stepping over this company that majors in this vision, that specializes in raw foods, that sources over 400 farmers to grow raw foods for this company, that has every essential oil from every corner of the earth, that has this amazing mission and vision and purpose? How come leaders are stepping over us to chase the next shiny object? With a lump in my throat, I looked at the team and I said, you know, guys, I don't know. But we're not that. We're not the shiny, trendy company. If you hear trend in the same sentence of health, run. Your health is as timeless as the sky is blue. But I'll tell you this, right now, this is 5 years ago, right now the industry is shaping great people. And I say shaping, it's a nice word for, I won't even say it, okay? Because right now the industry is shaping great people. And when they're done being shaped, they will see our company and they will know their home. This is a home, it's not a motel. It's not us trying to impress our neighbors up and down I-15 in Utah because there's 500 MLMs. This is a decision of trying to impress our children, not our neighbors, and the decision-making are distinct. So, the last couple of things that I would share with you is I'll just tell you real quickly, we're an organic raw foods company. I still believe in that. We're an essential oil company. we have facilities. Dr. Gonzalez talked about marine phytoplankton. I call it checkmate, the conversation of nutrition. But then all of a sudden this doctor comes and he brings me a patch. Now some people came here tonight thinking, oh, these are just another group of boy band in Utah that found a patch and threw it against the, I mean, that's what a lot of people think. We're just a bunch of guys who are commercialists and found a patch. Okay. We would be anything but that. This is a meticulously built company with a lot of heart, a lot of soul, a lot of work ethic. This is a talented company as well. God gives us talent, we make it a skill, and too many people die riddled with talent and no skill. Okay? So we started building this company and with the mission and purpose to just do it right. And it wasn't about us, it wasn't about ego and entitlement, it was about service. And the cool thing is when this doctor brought me this power strip, it looked like this, it didn't have the word love on it yet, they were just dots. That's all it was just dots. And he handed me this thing, and he was Asian man, and he said, oh, the market has never seen this technology. And I'm holding it going, you know, doctor, I don't want to offend you, but I'm going to put my drink on it if you don't mind. Looks like a coaster to me. So he says, I just finished patenting this worldwide. And he says, try one. Now, I am the perfect potential client. Perfect. I broke my back, it popped, it was numb everywhere, and I go to the mall, and I can only go to like 1 or 2 stores to get back out to the car, you know, all that kind of stuff. And I'm just a guy who has to toss and turn 28 times one night to try to sleep and wake up tight, and my legs are just tight because of my back. So I was, and guys, realize that I tried every essential oil, I tried medicine, I tried every little zapping electronic buzz thing you put back there, I tried them all. And if you look in my room in the cupboard, there's all these wires and all these gadgets. I bought them around the world. Because airports sell these things all around the world. And I buy them. So I put it on, and to be honest with you, it was like 3 in the afternoon. I forgot I had it on an hour later. I was out playing, you know, doing things, and I go to bed that night, and at my bedpost I have one of those long rubber bands to stretch before I get out of bed, because, as you know, when you have a bad back, you know, your legs get all tight, and if you take a wrong step out of bed, you know, your back is gone again. So I have to stretch before I even roll out of bed, okay? So I get out of bed the next day, and I'm like, huh. I just didn't feel that. I wasn't thinking. I just remember feeling like neutral. And I don't ever want people to think that this had readjusted my hips. It didn't do anything like that. All I can tell you is this. I'm thinking having a baby is a 10. I was an 8, okay? And in this 8, the next day I was like a 2. And I'm like, what in the heck? So I put my hand back there, and there's this thin coaster on my back. And I'm like, so I get in the car, I call my assistant, I says, do we have any more of those? She said, oh yeah, I put them in a file. And what does it do? I'm in the car and it starts heating up. I've been wearing it for like 15 hours and now it decides to just get warm on me. So I thought it was my seat heater. Really, I'm checking things. So I call the doctor and I says, tell me what this thing is. And Dr. Gonzalez just gave me the description. And I said, you thought of this? He said, yeah. I said, man, I'm going to fly out there. I want to talk business with you. So I go out there, and I'm thinking all the way there, how does a patch fit into a raw foods company? I mean, I just couldn't find the connection, you know, you eat it. And so, so I get there, and I negotiate with him because I think I'm going to market these online outside of network marketing because I loved them that much. I mean, I literally loved them so much. This is a thought that I had. I sure hope North Korea doesn't bomb South Korea. That would be a bummer. I mean, that's where I was at, okay? I wanted to go take care of the little guy myself, okay? And so I negotiate the rights, I get home, I go to bed, and I can't sleep because I'm jet lagging. By the way, funny jet lagging story I'll tell you guys. When I was young in my career, these companies didn't trust me. So when I say didn't trust, I I didn't mean it in a bad way. They just didn't, I didn't have enough experience, so they didn't trust me going around the world doing the business. Good for them, they were right. So they would put me on a plane, and they'd only send me to regions. So I'd go Salt Lake, New Mexico, Salt Lake, Denver, Salt Lake, Vegas, Salt Lake, I was going to all these little cities. And so after a while, every time I landed, the distributors would pick me up and they'd go, Ron, we got every minute planned for you when you're here. And I'm like, oh. So I started making stuff up just so I had a little moment alone, So I said, look, I would go with you. I got jet lag. I had no idea what jet lag was, by the way. That's what's funny. I'm like, oh man, you should have felt it on that one. Oh, it was crazy. And they're like, dude, that was a 40-minute flight. Oh. So there's like 20 people in the Western states who think I'm an idiot, So I'm home from Korea, and I'm laying in my bed, and I'm thinking about these power strips. Now, I'm CEO of a publicly traded company. ForeverGreen is publicly traded. So I'm thinking, Ron, you owe it to the shareholders to look at every angle of this, because if you go sell it online, blah, 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 blah. So I'm looking at every angle. And it dawned on me that we always get these calls from different countries that want to bring ForeverGreen. So we'll get a call from South Africa. Hey, can you bring it here? No. No. Central America? No. Little tiny islands in Southeast? No. No. We kept saying no. And here we are preaching this indiscriminate message, trying to unite humanity, and we're saying no to everybody. So all of a sudden I thought, wait a minute. What if this becomes our international model to make friends? We'll use it as a calling card. And so I started thinking, so I started feeling them and stuff, and all of a sudden, it was in a plastic Ziploc at the time, and I felt, I wonder how many's in here. So I counted, and there was 18 in there. So I took 3 out, and I went and found a Christmas card, and I stuck it in an old Christmas card, put it in the envelope, and just played with it for a while, like, And then I thought, man, what if we can put this in the mail, and we can just ship it anywhere? And all of a sudden, I'm tossing and turning, and I'm wide awake at 4 in the morning. What if, and I'm going on, and so what do? About 7 in the morning, I get up because I hadn't slept, get dressed, and I look like death, and I go to the post office because I wanted to test to see if it would fit through that little slot, right? That tester slot. So I walk in, I go to the thing, and it fits. And I'm like, oh boy. And I'm thinking, man, see, nobody has tried them yet but me. This is the problem. I'm the only one who's tried them. So I go back to the staff, and I keep it a secret because they're going to think I'm crazy. Hey guys, I got this patch, and it looks like a coaster, and my back really, I just had to be really careful because I respect the people I work with. I'm not a dictator, okay? I want them to be as excited as I am. So I do a beta website, show them the website, and they're like, oh, well, it's kind of interesting. I says, guys, we can mail it anywhere in the world. So the response was, okay, let's test it on people. To me, that was an intelligent response. I said, okay, deal. So we ordered a whole bunch in. We took them to neighbors and cousins and in-laws. We didn't take them to industry people. We just took them to people we knew would give us honest feedback. And all I can tell you guys is we're so used to marketing supplements or juice where you wait a few weeks and go, did you feel anything? It's like 2 teenagers having their first beer. I feel it. Do you feel it? And so here's the irony. Within 24 hours, we had a whole bunch of testimonials. And we're like, is somebody punking us right now? I mean, it was that fast. And so 2 days later, and we had these testimonials, but they were, as Andre was saying, they were testimonials that were naming a bunch of diseases. And so I'm getting nervous going, this is going way too good. Now retired people's parents are showing up going, yeah, I want some, just people who, right? And so I'm like, we're gonna get shut down. We're gonna get shut down if we don't say this right. So I call the Attorney General. It's 12 years the Attorney General. He's a good friend of mine. I said, hey, can you check out this product? I'm telling you, I got something special, but we're going to get in trouble. And I figured it'd be good to tell him first. So He says, send it all to me. He goes through all the paperwork, goes through all the ingredients, takes it to the FDA. And I'm like, uh-oh, I'm going to go hide for a few weeks. And the FDA calls back several weeks later and says, hey, this is a medical device. And I'm like, yeah? I mean, I don't know if I'm in trouble, if they're going to take it away. And like, yeah, medical device. It's funny. I don't know what to say. So they says, you can take it this path and spend this much. You can take it this path and spend this much. But I think you should take this path and we'll list it as a Class 1 medical device with the FDA. And how long will that take? He said, it'll take 72 hours. I mean, I'm just like convulsing, you know? And so 72 hours we were listed with the FDA as a Class 1 medical device, guys. Never been done before. So we're making history. And here's how we're doing it. Number one, we have a physical, tangible product that you can mail to any address on the planet. Seamlessly. It's so weird, this model, guys, because I go to sleep, and then I wake up and we did more sales while I was asleep. It's so weird. So I'll sleep in to 10 or 11, whatever I got to do, because it's amazing. This is a business that never sleeps. And it's credible because you have an FDA-listed medical device. So the stock market takes a look like, oh, there's a new device on the market now. It's us. Yeah, it's us. It's really, so if you think about it, those of you who are a little bit resistant, just let me give you a little lifeline here. I have a new business. It's an online business. It's global, it's everywhere. And what do you market? Oh, I market a Class 1 listed medical device. Oh. Okay. Sounds like a pretty good business to me. So what's happening is we're making history by the way we can ship it anywhere. We're making history that it's an FDA-listed device. It's seamless. There's no tricks or gotchas. The only thing I would say that's the challenge, and I'm very open about it. I was open day one. Was that when you mail it to 10 buck 2, it might not get there in a week. You know, it takes longer. But that's the consequence, or that's the reward of all of us being together. Tell the people in Cameroon that. They're doing dances because they're in the same business as us now. They're included. So this was designed to illuminate the dreamer again. This was designed to illuminate the entrepreneurial spirit in everyone, everywhere, in every corner of the earth. Not 12 countries that everybody goes to, all of them. So we went from 12 countries to 170 now we're shipping to. Yeah. And if you want a business perspective, we're top of the first inning. Guys, this is just starting. No one even knows about this yet. No one knows about this. Okay? So it's just starting right now. You're here early, you're here during pre-launch, and you're, in my opinion, you're just with a very beautiful, beautiful, beautiful company. This is a very unusual company. So in closing, I'm going to share with you 2 thoughts, and I'll do it fast. The first thought is that of the business itself. I do this sometimes, and people laugh because I remember when I go to do a presentation like this, I look out in the audience and I always try to find the most skeptical face. If I look at you, don't be offended, okay? So I try to find the most skeptical face, the person who's saying, you know, my heart wants so bad to believe all this, but show me the money, okay? So for years, I watched that person in the room, and then I came up with this idea that I would do a documentary called Residual Eyes, Residual Eyes. And I took a film crew, and we went and interviewed the working class. So the first thing we did is we went to hourly, we went to salary, corporate people, we went to American dreamers, and we asked them all these questions, not to belittle them, but to really praise them for what they do to provide for their families and contribute to society. So when we went through this, we took the crew and we had all these waivers, and they were all strangers. So the first thing we did is went to hourly. What do you like about hourly? What do you think they said? What do you think they liked about being on a time clock? There was 2 or 3 things they liked.
Security.
Yes, thank you. I like how some of you think. What else?
Regular check.
Yeah, regular stability. Thank you. That was it. Got a job. Then I asked them, same people, what do you not like about a time clock? Help me out. Time clock.
Loss
I had one lady say, if I want to go down the street and see my daughters play, I'll either lose my job and for sure I won't get paid. You know, that kind of thing. Yes.
Other people valuing you by what they give you.
Yes, exactly. Just apologize.